You're deep in the woods. No phone signal. No clear way out. The air goes still. The sun vanished hours ago, and now the trees whisper with every gust of cold wind. Your flashlight flickers, then dies. You hear a branch snap behind you, and then, in the moonlight, you see it. Not an animal, but something not quite ordinarily human, staring. You turn slowly. It stands there, watching, waiting. What would you do if you suddenly encountered a figure that defied explanation? Run? Hide? Freeze? Try and speak to them? After all, how can you trust your survival instincts when you don't even know what stalks you? And what if this oddity was actually hunting you? Let's give this unsettling figure a name. A face, a legend. In the still woods of the Swiss village of Molez, a silent spectre once roamed. This is the story of Le Loyen. It was September 2013 when Le Matin, a Swiss French-language newspaper, published a haunting image that would grip the public imagination. A large figure cloaked in camouflage, captured by an anonymous hiker. The tourist photographer spoke with a reporter of the UK's Daily Mail newspaper when his photo became public. I came across him near the marshes. I approached him, up to 12 meters away. He had a military cape, boots, and an army gas mask. An antique type, I think. He measured more than 1.9 meters. He stared at me, then turned his back and left in silence. The photo marked the first known visual evidence of Le Loyen, a figure long rumoured in the shadowed woods near the quiet village of Molez, located in the municipality of Salers in Switzerland. For years the stories were only whispers, but this image turned local legend into chilling reality. From that day on, a local mystery once spoken of in hushed whispers erupted into a chilling, undeniable reality, and Switzerland had a new modern folk legend born from the trees. In the fall of 2013, major news outlets pounced on the story with lurid fascination. French television christened the mysterious figure the Frankenstein of the mountains, while British tabloids wasted no time dubbing him Switzerland's answer to the Loch Ness Monster. Online, Le Loyen morphed into a near meme, part urban legend, part modern folklore. His ghostly silhouette and gas-masked stare shared and speculated over by thousands. It felt as though the world had found a new monster, not from the depths of a lake, but from the shadows of a forest path. Voices dropped to whispers whenever the topic arose, and locals became spooked by sightings of the faceless figure gliding silently through the trees. Parents clutched their children closer. "He terrified my kids," one villager confessed, voice trembling. Others admitted that fear had reshaped old habits. Women who once wandered the forest trails for peace now stayed away, too afraid to go alone. Yet not everyone felt the same. Some witnesses had described him as a calm, almost harmless presence, while others found his silence deeply unsettling, even terrifying. The woods, once serene, had become a place of dread. Le Loyen was no longer just an eerie presence. He was a phantom that had shaken a community to its core. especially after this sinister tale had truly ignited a media wildfire, unleashing a digital frenzy of curiosity throughout the globe. At first, authorities saw little reason to intervene. After all, Laloyan hadn't broken any laws. But everything changed in 2013 when the chilling photograph of the figure surfaced. The unsettling image stirred public unease, prompting local officials, including forestry manager Guy Savory, to finally take notice. In response to the growing alarm, they began exploring ways to uncover the figure's identity and put an end to his unwanted appearances. Local authorities in the Moles forest acknowledged the strange figure's impact, stating that while there was no direct hostility toward the individual, action was necessary. Officials planned to convene, aiming to identify who or what was behind the menacing sightings, and to find a way to put an end to the fear spreading through the community. Their goal was clear: locate Laloyan and discourage these unsettling visits before anxiety took deeper root. The hunt had been unleashed, and there was no turning back. In November 2013, Laloyan's cloak and gas mask were reportedly found in the Moles woods, accompanied by a note titled "Death Certificate and Testament of the Ghost of Moles." The note, later published in the Sales Municipal Bulletin, was a bitter farewell to the press attention. Addressing the journalist that first published his image, Laloyan wrote, "You have murdered a perfectly harmless being. The risk of a hunt for the beast had become too great." He pleaded that his daily outings were nothing more than a true therapy of happiness, and chided society for intolerance. Laloyan made a reference to Leopold von Sacher-Masoch's writings, which explore how pleasure and suffering are intertwined, especially in the context of voluntary submission and alienation. This concept is clearly incomprehensible to a society that does not understand why someone might find happiness in solitude and anonymity. The cryptic farewell letter expressed displeasure over the unwanted attention the viral photograph had brought, suggesting that the individual behind the figure had abandoned their costume and walks due to the adverse publicity. This final clause is almost existential or philosophical. It suggests that the world is made up of everything: joy and pain, love and cruelty, light and shadow. It draws on a holistic view. No part of the emotional or human experience is dispensable. Since then, there have been no further reported sightings of Laloyan, leaving the mystery and curiosity behind his character and motives. At this point, a spark of curiosity might ignite. Who was this quiet drifter, slipping through the forest shadows with barely a trace? And what happened in his life that eventually drew him to roam the wild in silence, cloaked in secrecy and solitude? Let's delve into the heart of one of Europe's most baffling contemporary enigmas. Before the infamous photo publication in 2013, the mysterious and menacing figure had stalked the dark forests of Moles for well over a decade. Based on eyewitness accounts, the first reported sightings of Laloyan date back to the late 1990s or early 2000s. Witnesses recall a quiet figure drifting through woodland paths, at times gathering wildflowers, ever silent. An enigma cloaked in calm, never casting a shadow of fear. Those who witnessed the sight of Laloyan described a towering figure, standing at an imposing 190 centimeters, roughly 6'3". His presence, as silent as it was chilling. Cloaked in a tattered, greenish camouflage cape that blended unnervingly with the forest around it, the figure wore a dark, utilitarian boiler suit beneath, as if dressed for some forgotten, apocalyptic task. But it was the face, or the absence of one, that truly unsettled. Where human features should have been, there was only the cold, expressionless visage of an old-fashioned gas mask, its round, empty eye lenses reflecting the trees like twin voids. With each quiet step through the undergrowth, Leloyan seemed less a person than a relic of some long-buried nightmare, drifting through the forest like a ghost in search of something long lost. Or perhaps just watching. One resident recounted a chilling encounter. He fixed me with a long, unreadable gaze, then, without a word, turned away and vanished into the silence. In June 2012, a family driving near Morlaix spotted Leloyan holding a bouquet of flowers. Another sighting was on a hot Sunday morning in July 2012, where another local encountered Leloyan dressed in what looked like a white hazmat suit and a gas mask near a picnic area. Another resident, Marion Desclos, told Le Matin it was a rainy Sunday. He had a cap, a dark cloak, and his gas mask. What could possibly be going through his head? I don't know, but it was unforgettable and unpleasant. I hope I don't run into him again. Over the years, countless theories have risen to explain the enigma of Leloyan's true identity. Some have suggested that the figure was a notorious international fugitive living in disguise. Others speculate he was merely a reclusive hermit, an eccentric wanderer who found solace in the solitude of the forest. His peculiar appearance simply the result of a life lived apart from the outside world. The tale of Leloyan blurs the line between folklore, paranoia, and the unknown, suggesting an even more unsettling tale, perhaps a tormented soul afflicted by mental illness, using the strange garb as both camouflage and a shield against a society that never understood him. Some claim he was nothing more than an end-of-world believer, cloaked in quirkiness, whilst others based their theories on Leloyan having a rare skin affliction, hence he was wearing the mask, not for the spectacle, but as armour to protect their body. While most assume Leloyan to be a man, some voices have dared to suggest a surprising possibility, that Leloyan was in fact a woman. This speculation arises from the subtle clues scattered throughout the stories, such as picking flowers, which challenge the conventional narrative. This idea adds a fascinating new layer to the legend, inviting us to reconsider not only who Leloyan was, but what his true identity might reveal about the myths surrounding them. Another intriguing speculation suggests that Leloyan was part of an artistic or performance project. The carefully constructed costume and repeated appearances could be the work of an individual or group aiming to provoke curiosity, fear, or reflection among passers-by. This would make the mysterious creature a living art installation, challenging conventional boundaries between reality and myth. What if he was nothing more than an urban legend or hoax? Even the actual name Leloyan was never officially explained, though it likely comes from local dialects or folklore tied to the region of Switzerland where the figure was seen, specifically Morlaix Forest in the canton of Freiburg. The veil of ambiguity around their name only deepens the enigma, weaving an even more tantalizing mystery. The juxtaposition of horror tropes, such as the gas mask and solitary figure, with the reality, likely nothing more than a harmless, possibly troubled individual, provoked debates about empathy and privacy. As one local official mused, the only thing really terrorizing Morles was the idea of the ghost, a creature woven from cultural fears. A ghost doesn't speak in the language of the living. The ghost cannot explain his happiness, the bliss felt in retreat, withdrawal, or self-effacement cannot be expressed in conventional terms, even in death or disappearance. Perhaps he found a kind of happiness, peace, perhaps even liberation, something inexplicable. The story's resolution, the man disappearing quietly, with only a bitter note left behind, left unanswered questions and a cautionary lesson. Sometimes the scariest monster in the woods is the monster we imagine. Loloyne continues to be a topic of discussion among enthusiasts of urban legends and unexplained phenomena. With no clues and no answers, the silence he left behind speaks louder than his presence ever did. It's still a mystery whether he's truly dead or merely in hiding. The wind may roam, but the forest keeps its ghosts.